Welcome to Unfiltered Recovery. This is Amanda, I'm Joey, and if you're here, you're in the right place.
Yes, you are.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a New York State transplant in Florida, meaning I grew up most of my life in New York State, but now I'm in Florida. I have a degree in acting and directing. I got that in 2024. And then I decided to do the DCP, the Disney College Program.
Really cool.
Which brought me down to Florida. And I have since relocated to Florida, and I have no intentions in going back to New York where there is cold weather and snow.
A little bit about Amanda. She twirls batons, right?
Yes, I do. I am a retired baton twirler, but I still twirl somewhat frequently.
Amanda has over 11 years in recovery. I have over 1.
There are quite a few things that help keep me sober. One thing is that I am of service in and outside of my program of recovery that I do, because I am in a 12-step program of recovery. I make coffee for my meeting. Coffee. We love coffee in New York. I go to Zoom meetings, and at one of the Zoom meetings, I am the timer. So I time the speaker, and I time all the people that speak after that. And then I am the literature rep in another Zoom meeting that I go to, where I share about all the literature we have that is free and how to get the free literature that's available to you. So yeah, service is a big way that helps keep me sober on a regular basis. Then there is going to the meetings. And when I make the coffee at the meeting I go to, the in-person meeting I go to, because there's in-person and then there is Zoom. So at the in-person meeting I go to, I also say hi to all the people and give them all hugs, welcome them in.
Love it.
A lot of people like that because it makes them feel welcomed. And I remember when I first got sober, I was the coffee maker for the first year and a half of my sobriety at the same meeting that met every day at noon. And I would get there an hour early to make coffee so that coffee would be done half an hour before the meeting started, because that's when people started coming in the room. I'm also an alternate to somebody in the group level, an inverted triangle that we do our service work in. So the higher up the triangle, the bigger your space, the more of service you are, the least important you are at the bottom where the tip of the triangle is.
The opposite of a pyramid scheme, I believe.
Yes, inverted triangle. Chairing the meeting, I do that somewhat frequently if I see no one has decided to sign up to chair the meeting and I'm there. Giving people rides to meetings and other places, but I also work at Disney World. So not only am I of service to people in the rooms of recovery, but I'm also of service to people outside of recovery, which also helps. I help make magic for little kids and for adults on a daily basis when I'm at work. So service is the biggest thing I can say that has helped me with my sobriety. It helps me get out of me.
I know my car broke down, so I got a lot of rides from meetings as well. One of the major things I had trouble doing in recovery is actually having fun. Tell us about the first time you had fun, Amanda, in recovery.
Alrighty, this is a beautiful story. So thank you for asking this question, Joey. I was 21 when I came into the rooms, into my program of recovery. And I thought my life was over because I saw a bunch of people who were old with gray hair, that were retired or in a probation situation.
Sure.
And I'm 21, wondering, what am I doing with my life? My life is over. I'm going to retire at the age of 21. And then 4 months into sobriety, my sponsor told me about this convention that was coming to a nearby city to us. And it was a convention for young people in recovery.
Love it.
And so I went to it. And that's when I learned I could have fun. 3 a.m, we played Hungry Hippo life-size version.
Hungry Hippo.
And then at 8 a.m, I did yoga on the rooftop. Then I realized you can have fun in sobriety. And I haven't looked back since then. You know, I was a competitive baton twirler for years. I have a degree in acting and directing. I'm in a movie back home called A Date for Anya.
We're gonna have a watch party for that.
waiting to hear when that's coming out. It's an indie film. I play Anya. I've been in all sorts of productions, like live action productions. I've done Syracuse Shakespeare in the Park. That was fun. We performed Shakespeare in a live amphitheater where people sat in the grass and watched us perform in the amphitheater, which was entertaining for me and for them, I'm sure. You know, there's never been a dull moment in my sobriety. There's been boring moments, but those boring moments don't mean that my life is dull by any means.
So if you live by a meeting, it's easy to drive there. But Amanda introduced me to something I didn't think I would like. Tell us about online meetings, Amanda.
I've been sober for a period of time now. And I got sober before Zoom was a thing. I got sober when Skype was still a big thing.
I still use Skype.
Okay. When COVID hit, nobody could go anywhere. So I was in Boca, Florida, taking care of a woman with dementia. And I couldn't leave. I lived with her, I took care of her and her dog. I was her home care health aide.
Wow.
So because of that, I found this thing called Zoom. And I started going to Zoom meetings every day. I started going to Zoom meetings twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. Sometimes 3 meetings a day. What I was attempting to do was I was attempting to go across the United States in Zoom meetings. I made it about halfway through the United States before I gave up because I got too busy and things got too chaotic with my client that I was taking care of.
With dementia?
Yeah. I had a following of like 15 people following me from each meeting I was going to.
And they didn't all have dementia?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Just the one person I was living with.
So when you say following, what do you mean?
What I mean is I made a spreadsheet online and I put what Zoom meeting I was going to, what time it was at, in each of the different time zones with the password and what type of meeting it was. And people would give me their email addresses and I would type in their email addresses and give them access to the file. So when I updated it, they would see the update and they could go to the meeting with me. And so they would follow me from meeting to meeting with this meeting information that I had present to a crap ton of people. I attempted to do that when I first got down here for my DCP, my Disney College program. But it just got so chaotic for my internship that I didn't follow through with doing the rest of my Zoom program that I wanted to do. So, you know, someday I'll have that time again. And I will go through all the United States, the nation as a whole. Through Zoom meetings. My next goal would be to go to a meeting in every single state in the country, in person.
Wow.
Which I look forward to. I have also spoken at a UK meeting online. It was, I think, an hour and a half long meeting. I think I spoke for 30 minutes and then people shared after that. It was different. We have the same program. We have the same recovery style, but, you know, most places have 1 hour meetings.
Sure.
Some places have an hour and a half, some have 2. And the longer it is, the more irritable, restless, and discontent I can be.
The more boring it gets.
The more out of my mind I go. Because I'm sitting there and I'm like, when is this over? Because I love meetings, but I have a tiny attention span. I can only focus for a certain amount of time. I don't know how many people notice this, but I shake a lot because of my anxiety. Like my legs never stop shaking because of my anxiety. So what I do is at in-person meetings, I usually doodle. So I'll have my book and I will doodle in my little journal based off of what I hear in the meeting.
Sure.
And then when I'm on a Zoom meeting, I usually paint.
Amanda does do paintings. I think being creative in sobriety has really helped me. I found pickleball. I found really good fellowship. Someone taught me how to lift. and Amanda does paintings, which if you're struggling to do something without alcohol or drugs at home, painting is an idea you have. Tell us a little bit more about your painting.
When I paint, I'm either in a meeting painting, or it's after the meeting in my free time, my spare time, that I paint. And when I paint, I put my headphones on and I play music. I have Spotify, so I listen to the day playlist, and it changes every few hours to what music I normally listen to during that hour.
Sure.
So it changes based off of my mood. So I will paint what my mood is with colors that I'm feeling. Or if I have friends that I know want a painting, I ask them their 3 favorite colors, what music they listen to, and then I will listen to their music and paint those colors on a canvas for them. And I will give it to them when I'm done painting it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, music is a huge thing for me. When I'm super depressed, I don't want to listen to music at all. And yeah, it's all about moods for me. I'll go anywhere from Eminem at the gym to country. I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee for 3 years, but I definitely could relate. So if you're watching and you're wondering about how to get to some really good online meetings, what resources would you give, Amanda?
So there is a website called Radford Hall.
And we'll put that in the link in the bio, Radford Hall meeting, if you're interested in it.
They have over 115 meetings. It's Radford Hall is a meeting location in California, but they also have Zoom meetings and hybrid meetings where people can go to a location in person, and then people can be there on Zoom, and they share, like they swap between who shares, whether it's a Zoom person or an in-meeting person sharing, so that people from both sides can see each other and communicate and share. And then there's also a meeting I really like that meets every day. It's a Pacific Coast meeting. They meet at 6 p.m. their time, but it's 9 p.m. our time. It's called Into the Triad. They meet every day. They have a speaker for 15 minutes, then they have sharing after that for the rest of the hour. One of my favorite online meetings that I go to is called Double Trouble. It's a meeting about sobriety and mental health issues. I struggle with mental health issues. I have ADHD, bipolar 2, anxiety, depression. I have some PTSD and seasonal affective disorder. And by going to this Zoom meeting, I can talk about all those things and how they're affecting my sobriety and how my sobriety is affecting my mental health. And it's a very safe place for me to be able to go if I'm having a mental health issue. Because I can't just go to any meeting and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Because not everyone likes that.
I usually just go to a meeting and say I'm suicidal. I would not recommend that.
No, I would not recommend that either.
So what do you do in sobriety to calm yourself down, Amanda, when you have a lot of anxiety? Because the people at home probably are thinking the same thing.
So when I have a lot of anxiety, I will do a couple of things. Depending on what day it is, and if I'm at work or if I have work that day, then I listen to music to deal with my anxiety. Music. I put music on that will reflect how I'm feeling. For example, I'll put on Sleeping with Sirens. They're like a metal punk band.
I like it.
And I'll listen to them over and over and over, and then I'll feel fine. And sometimes I'll paint. Sometimes I'll go to a meeting. It really depends where I'm at that day. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Subscribe to Unfiltered Recovery. Amanda will be here next week when you
Yes,
have
I will.
anxiety to calm you down. And don't forget to have a good day always.
Used to chase that easy answer at the bottom of a cheap glass shine. Woke up wearing last night's secrets, head pounding like a warning sign.